Hello YouTube, my name is Matt and you are watching J&M Simulations. So, you guys might be wondering, what am I doing right now? Today, we're going to be flying the Carenado C208, otherwise known as the Cessna Grand Caravan. This is a very popular aircraft. It's used constantly in overseas, if you live in the USA, overseas operations, bush flying. It's a very rugged aircraft. It's a turboprop. It's a very nice, powerful plane that can carry a lot of weight. And basically, we're just going to test it out today. I know this is not very normal for a flight sim YouTuber to do, and I want to show how our channel is different and give this content to you. This is going to be it's going to be a different type of video. It's not gonna be us flying a A320 or A340. It's gonna be a Grand Caravan. The reason I'm doing this is because I wanted to apply this to many audiences, people that may not know how to. Sorry, just setting takeoff trim. People that may not know how to fly a 7.4, but may know how to fly a Grand Caravan. That may want, or even may want to learn how to fly these things. You know, even though it's a very complex aircraft, it is a prop. It is small. It is not a jet. It doesn't fly. It doesn't fly at, 190, 200 knots indicated airspeed. It's a nice rugged plane that people can put through its paces and try to get themselves better pilots. As I've said in previous videos, I fly Cessna 172. And these Garmin 1000 avionics are exactly the same as 172, so I do have an advantage, and I do understand these avionics, so you may not know them. I'm not here to explain the avionics to you. You can do that if you choose to buy the aircraft. I'm just trying to show flight dynamics and such. Right now we're at my home airport. I don't live there, but I fly out of here. It's KDXR. That's a nice little municipal airport. Very hilly, so it's cool. I was just thinking maybe doing a pattern and then probably departing out and putting it through tests and doing some stalls maybe. And it's just gonna be a fun test, not a long video. I'm trying to keep this one short. I don't know about Jason. Jason will have his first video up soon, if not already up by the time I upload this. I don't know when that'll be. But here goes with it. I'm gonna do a engine start checklist. And for some reason, these avionics don't go on unless you, for some reason, like the PFD won't go on unless you turn on avionics, which is not normal, but what are you going to do? So, like I said, I'm just going to go through the checklist. It's very procedural, because I want to be as procedural as possible to show the people that don't necessarily know how to fly this aircraft that you can do it and you can know everything it is. It's not a super complex plane, and it's not a big deal. Our emergency power level is at idle. Propeller area is clear. I know there's no people here, but I'm going to check anyway, just for realism. At this point, you'd yell prop clear out the window, see if this opens. That would be cool. That's an extra touch of realism. That is interesting that opens. It obviously has no use whatsoever, but it's very nice that they did that. And now we're going to turn on our fuel flow to the engine. Voice crack there. Let's see. Oh, no. Oh, actually, let's see if the air goes on. No, you can't hear, I don't think. Let's check if we can open the vent and hear it. No, that would be cool. Today I chose a winter wonderland for FSX for the weather. Thought it'd be fun to fly in. Extra challenge. So I'm going to turn on the anti-ice here. We do not want to freeze up mid-flight. So we're going to turn our prop heat on, pitot heat, all the above. We're going to turn on our seats and get our beacon on so we're ready to go. Okay, beacon's on. Fuel flow is 0. I said it's right there. You can see. And we're going to start the engine. Make sure fuel boost is all the way. Ooh, where did my checklist go? Alright. Starter switch. Ignition. Wait till it gets stable at 12%. Going to tokens to 12%. Fuel condition lever, low idle. Wait for our engine to start up. As I said, this is a turboprop, so you'll hear those engines getting loud. That engine, rather. And now our starter is off, and our plane is started. I'm gonna run it at near idle for now because it's a loud plane. Would like to talk over it. And fuel boost can go off. Prop de-ice is on because it's icing conditions. Fuel condition lever, low idle. Starter switch off, starter energize, check off. Inverter, not doing that. Instruments, engine instruments, check. We have to set our barrel altimeter, which can be set here. We are 470, right? So 2997 is our altimeter today. Standby power on. Avionics 1 and 2 on. Fuel boost is normal. Standby power on. Nav and beacon as required. Nav on. And reuse as required. We're not going to use ATC because ATC sucks in this game. And I'm going to be doing all hand flying this. I'm not going to be doing a thing, and we're not going to do a run up because this is a video game, and I don't have time for that. So we're going to just start out by a normal taxi out. We're a little close to this, so we're just going to get a quick turn with the differential brakes. Apologize for that cut. I was being called for something, and I wouldn't want to put that in a video. So we're just going to taxi out to 26. It's the winds are permitting that today. Normally, a plane of this size out of my airport would request 26 for departure anyway, because that is the longest runway and is at it actually is 5,000 feet. The other one is only 3, and that's you know, it's probably enough, but we want to be safe when we're taking off. We want to know that we're not going to crash into the mountains, as this is a very mountainous airport. I'm going to set my RPM to low, because I'm already moving at idle speed. And the RPM, if you'll notice, the RPM gets very low on idle power. That's the torque. Where's RPM? Oh, it's right there. Okay. I'm an idiot. I'm not used to that display of the Garmin 1000. Usually it's not like that for my plane because I don't have torque on it. It's like any other propeller aircraft. It has P factor due to because of the less turning tendency. P factor is a nuisance. It sucks, but we've got to do it. We fly piston aircraft. That's just a problem that they have. So we're going to continue down taxiway Delta, and just going to set in some altitudes for us so that when we get up to it we can cruise. This is not exactly the same as mine. I don't necessarily altitude select because this is a more advanced aircraft. It has a separate panel, and that'll be good for now. When we get up to the hold short line, I'll put in our destination, which will be HBN, which is right down there on the border of Connecticut and New York. It's probably going to be a quick flight. We'll see. I may or may, but depending on what's going on, I may or may not go there. But for now, I will do this. I'm going to set direct to okay, and I'll get down up in there so you guys can see the detail of this plane. It's absolutely beautiful. Okay, click. H. If you use this plane, You'll see how to do this. It's not too hard. It is a little hard to get it just right because of scrolling can be a little bit I don't know what's the right word. It can be a little hard to scroll. KHP. What's wrong with P? And there we go. Enter. So it's about 24 miles. That'll be perfect for us. It will not take us that long to get there, and we'll do a landing there on runway 24. So we're gonna line up on runway 26. We're gonna do a static takeoff. A static takeoff is a takeoff in which you have the brakes on the aircraft put up to full power, and all it does is it just allows you to take off shorter distances. Most jets that fly into and out of my airport, or out of them actually, they do static takeoffs because it's safer, and they take off much faster that way, and they don't run the risk of crushing into the mountains 5,000 feet yonder. So we're just going to start here. Control period, reference our checklist. Before takeoff, things dandy. Normal takeoff, flaps 20, flaps set, power, set prop RPM all the way. We'll see torque rising to max. And I honestly don't know what that does, so I'm not going to touch it. We're just setting the power to max RPM so we can get up as fast as possible. And rotate is 70 knots. So we're going to do a static takeoff, and I'll let you guys, I won't talk for this so that you guys can hear the engine, see what's going on with the engine. If it's nice, I've not really heard it on takeoff before, so let's see how this performs. Static takeoff, full power, RPMs rising, fuel flow stabilized, release parking brake. Oh, this is a quick aircraft. Airspeed alive, 70 knots, rotate. Out at 90 knots. I'm going to reduce, our torque is a little high, we don't need it to be that high. Alright, 700 feet, we're clear of all obstacles. Sorry, I was getting a little high on the pitch attitude there. I didn't quite set my trim correctly on takeoff. As you can see, this is a very high performance aircraft. We're now pulling at a 2,000 foot per minute climb, and we're gaining speed, which is very unusual for piston aircraft. As you can see, like I said, it's a very, very powerful plane. There's a lot of power behind it. It's that takeoff was extremely short due to its capabilities that they use in bush flying scenarios. While it's a very powerful aircraft and a very heavy one, it can fly into and out of very, very short and very, very bumpy fields. As you can see, that takeoff was no more than my normal Cessna 172 takeoffs that I do every weekend. So, like I said, very powerful aircraft. Flaps up, and I was with flaps on. So this is clearly a very powerful aircraft. It's a very good aircraft. Obviously, as you can see, the quality is fantastic. The in-depth with the Garmin avionics is fantastic. The fact that I know how to use it from actually using a Garmin 1000 tells you something about how realistic it actually is. Definitely, because I was able to use it with prior knowledge with the Garmin 1000 avionics, which means obviously they're doing something right when they model these avionics. They probably go through a lot of effort. This aircraft is a very nice aircraft. It's definitely worth the money, I would say. All Carenado products are very good quality. I have the SR22. There are actually SR22s at my airport, so I get to see them all the time. Looks very nice. Theirs looks very nice, and I think it's very worthy of praise. Now I'm just trimming the plane out for a nice cruise. As you can see, we're keep dipping below this cloud layer. Oh, I did not even realize I had my specs up there the whole time. I apologize for that. I feel so bad now. That was probably pissing you guys off. I don't want to redo this though, so I'm gonna keep going. That annoys me whenever I see that. I really apologize. So I'm just, we're at a good speed right now, so I'm just trying to trim it out. Do a little nose down trim. Just gaining the littlest bit of altitude. Maybe give it a little bit of a power drop. And it looks like we're good. He's gonna turn left. As you can see, on the map page to the right of the BFD, while I'm making this turn, you can see that it also models traffic. It also renders the traffic, and that is a very, very unique feature. My plane does this, but this is a simulator, so I would never expect something so in depth in a simulator. Let's see if we can get any closer. I don't think. Yeah. See, as you can see, going into the Class Bravo airspace of New York, you can see there's a lot of traffic going into those areas. Less traffic in the municipal regions where I am right now. And we're just cruising at 2,500. I'm not going up to 4,100. It'll be dangerous because we're flying VFR right now. Probably not for the better. Well, definitely not for the better. This is an IFR day, probably. Very, very low VFR with ceilings at around 2,600 feet. You wouldn't really fly this aircraft that low because of fuel burn. As you can see, our fuel flow is nearly 269 gallons per hour, pounds per hour, rather, sorry. So that's not something you would want to do. It's not very economic flying. You know, you fly these up at altitude. Now we're about halfway there. Got 13 miles to go. Try and power through it. Like I said, very high performance aircraft. Very nice, very nice aircraft. Very detailed plane. The exterior model is beautiful. It runs at good frames per second. I don't really have anything to say bad about this plane. I just keep realizing these little things that I forgot to do when preparing for the thing. We're getting a little fast here, so I'm going to pull back on the throttle. I completely forgot to hide the menu bar, which I apologize, and I'm trying to do that right now as I manage the plane. I really apologize for all this stuff I'm making mistakes on, but I was really excited when purchasing this aircraft and when getting it ready that I probably just didn't actually recognize what I was doing. Like I said, very fun plane, very cool plane. I would fly this, you know. Set myself up in down in Botswana, do some bush flying in Botswana like they do on. There's a bunch of good shows about bush flying in sub-Saharan Africa. You know, some cool stuff they do down there. People actually go. What's interesting, they fly the caravans down there, and they actually bring people looking for people that go on vacation down there. In these really nice. What are they called? They're called they're like just really nice places out in the jungle where you go and you spend a bunch of time at. It's just a great thing. So we're gonna try and track this line here, and they fly them out there. So people from all over the world go down to Botswana and they try to get a job there. In just about a year, they've been known to rank 1,500 hours because you fly so much there. What happens is people will go down there with 250, just got their commercial single engine instrument, and they'll fly down there. It's a great thing. So right about now, about 7 miles out, about 3 miles out ago, we would have contacted the tower and let them know that we're coming. I'm just gonna zoom in here, see if we can get our winds. I don't think they have the winds. But that is HPN. maybe I got mixed up. I don't know if they actually do have a runway 24. And if it is, I don't know. We're just gonna make believe like there's no winds today, and we're gonna fly right traffic for whatever runway that is. Whatever runway that. Yeah, we'll actually fly right traffic for the one that is not facing the water. So we're gonna come up here, start slowing down to around 140 40 knots, where we'll drop down the flaps. It says maintain it here. It's a very, very powerful thing, but it's a very, very heavy thing. So its speed can get away from you if you're not paying attention to it. It's very important that you stay ahead of this airplane, because it will get ahead of you. And I actually forgot to get down to TPA, so I'm probably just gonna do a no power descent down to TPA. As you can see, the power, even with the nose down descent, it's just ridiculously heavy, and it'll drop down like a rock and lose airspeed like crazy. So right now we're setting up for right traffic to this runway. I believe it's going to be runway about 228, if I'm not mistaken. Or like 36 about. I honestly don't know what the runway is, so I'm just kind of lying to you right now. If I'm not mistaken, like I said, we're about parallel to it. Parallel to it, so it's probably around a 360 heading. And we're going to descend. There's some traffic over there, Continental Airlines. I don't even know why they still do that. Probably 75. 73. Oh, that's a 75, sorry. Yeah, they, I have Ultimate Traffic 2. If you've seen my previous video, I have all my add-ons that I use in the videos listed there, as I will for this one. As I said in the other video, I apologize for this bad mic quality. As I speak, it's being shipped right now, my new mic. I really want to make this a successful channel. I think that there's a lot of stuff that me and my friend can bring to you guys. And I definitely think there's a lot to be done. There's a lot to be done with this simulation industry. There's a whole lot of potential. It's a very nice, huge niche market where we'd like to come and do well in. I have Rex. Rex is just assembling real-time weather data, and just about now I'm going to start turning for about a 160 heading, or just about in the middle, probably 155. Just about so we can get a little bit of a distance away, so we have enough space to execute a right turn towards the runway. Right, so I am going to reduce power in flight training. If you guys are interested in becoming pilots, if you ever wanted to be a pilot, if you actually do flight training, you'll know they teach you to adjust. You just altitude with throttle, with thrust, and you adjust airspeed with pitch. Doing like this is a much more effective way. It allows you to lose altitude without gaining airspeed. It's just, oops, it's no big deal. Just Rex saying that it couldn't load the data, which is fine. Sometimes it does that. I'm going to add power back in here now so we can reduce our descent rate, which is pretty high right now. Get our last notch of flaps in there, and start our base turn towards HBN. And just like normal, we're going to just do a coordinated turn towards the runway. And now we can see the runway. Can we see the runway? Oh, it's right there. Okay, perfect. Gonna add some more power in here because we're low. The pappies are showing that we're all red, so we're just gonna add power here. Make sure we stay below stall speed. What's very interesting too is that this aircraft has the same stall speed as mine, which is a crazy thing when this aircraft is, I think, upwards of 10,000 pounds, where mine is useful. The useful load of my plane is like 700 pounds, so it's really nothing. MTOW of mine is about 2. I don't know how much this is, but I'm sure it's significantly larger than that. And it has the same stall speed, which is just absolutely mind-boggling. So we're gonna we're just regaining the glide slope here. We're going to add power, maintain our altitude, and maintain this heading so that we can capture the runway center line. Turn out here. We're a little left now, and I'm just visually going to align myself with the runway. No ILS today. I forgot to turn on my lights, so let's turn on as we're doing this. Strobe, and landing, so we can let it light up like a Christmas tree. And doing that, I kind of veered off, which is fine. I'll just regain that. And depending on how long this is, I'm probably going to do a touch and go and take off. If there's not enough time, then whatever. But just to try and get another landing in with the aircraft, see what it's like. I'm losing altitude here, so I'm just going to put in a little more power to get over this little part of altitude loss. And then when we get over the runway, I'm just going to release power all the way, point towards the numbers, and start getting back pressure. Alright, touchdown, flaps to approach, and takeoff, full power. As you can see, it's a very speedy plane, and it is incredibly good at taking off short distances. So that was a good we're going to do right traffic again. Basically just some things. It's a very heavy plane. If you haven't flown a plane that's this heavy before, with single engine, I would suggest you probably do another one before this. As I've seen, the trim is not affected when you would trim it, it doesn't really get affected too much. We're just leveling off at TPA now. So I would suggest you probably start out with something a little bit smaller than this. It's a nice, very, very nice plane. No doubt you could learn to fly in it, but that is with a little added complexity. Like I said, if you want to do it, go for it. I'm sure nobody on their first flight in FSX said, "Hey, I'm going to fly the 172." No, I know we all went in, and the first thing we did was like 747. Let's do this. So no harm there. Just do whatever. That's you. Go for it. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, now that we're out here, right? So why not test out its stalls and stuff? So we're actually gonna go up to about 2,000 feet, 2,500 feet, and we're gonna test out the aerodynamics of this plane, whether it's actually realistic, and then come in for another landing. It should not be long. Should be rather short actually. Take about 5 minutes to complete the stall, and then another 5 to land. We'll, not realistically, we'll go towards the airport so we're not drifting too far off. Usually you'd go to training areas. Airports that do training have training areas in which you go to do maneuvers as such. So we're leveling off here around 2,500 feet. Gonna add first notch of flaps. Wait until we are 125 knots, and then add the second notch of flaps, and no power, and pitch all the way up. Second notch, and we're going to increase angle of attack until we get stalling speed. We're going to watch how it reacts to the stall if we get a nose drop or a wing drop. You hear the stall horn? Stall horn. We got a nose drop. Full power. Nose horizon. And look at that. It actually responded very, very, very well. We're going to do that again, actually. As you can see, it's a very slow plane. It can fly at a very slow speed, and it responded very well to that. As you can see, it shook violently, which is normal, which can happen when stalled. So it's actually very well designed in that sense. I'm going to add last notch, no power, pitch up, and we actually got a nose drop, which is very cool for a simulator. You don't usually get that. All right, stall horn. Got a nose drop again. Horizon, full power. Pulling out of the stall. It's a very good airplane. As you can see, we recover from a stall in about 200 feet, which is very unusual for a plane of this size. And it reacts very well, I have to say. Very, very realistic. I don't think that I've seen a plane that does that. I have not actually done this in the SR-22 Turbo by Carenado, so I can't say that that is less realistic. I've never actually done that, so I don't know. We got the runway in sight, so we're gonna turn base now. As you can see, it's a very slow airplane. We can fly it at 85 knots, no problem. And that's what I really like about this plane. There's no harm in flying it at 85, just as you would my 172. So we're just going to try and align ourselves with the runway, come in for a landing, taxi back to a hangar, and shut her down. And then we'll go over final opinions of the plane, performance, and what could be better about it, which not really much, but what I liked and what I didn't like, realism, and all that things. But for now, I'm going to let you do whatever you want, and I'll get back to you when we are turning off the runway. Flaps full. We're high here, so gonna point down, put less pitch, and take the throttle all the way out, and we're gonna try and regain our descent rate, because we're getting a little low on the descent rate, and we're gonna catch this pappy pretty good here. Probably gonna recapture it soon. Just a little flow, flaps full, and power flap set, and RPM is good. I just made that up. Usually our flows would become much before this, but now that we're above the runway, we're gonna take power to idle, and let's get this baby down. It was a little harder. Nothing wrong with that. As you can see, there's a little bit of shaking within the aircraft, which I think is very cool. But now we're going to do full. After that is unusual that it did that. I have to say, that is definitely something that's wrong. That it would do such a thing really shows a lot about the aerodynamics, I guess, is very powerful. Just now we're just going to turn low idle for our props. We don't want to be moving on the ground. We don't want to. I'm going to turn off here and stop here. We're slipping all over the place. But yeah, overall, very nicely done by Carenado. I'm very impressed. I think they did a fantastic job, and you should definitely buy this plane. Can't really find much wrong about it, to be quite honest. There are some small things, like we talked about just now, that would make it a better, more realistic thing. Like it just about to take off again with a 10 degrees nose up pitch on the runway at 48 knots, which is way below its rotation speed. Rotation should be around 70 knots. So it's odd that it did that, but it just shows how much goes into their aerodynamics. That it's a very low stall speed aircraft. So we're just gonna park it here. Not really a realistic parking spot, but it's gonna be the shortest way to go. Just gonna park it here, and we're gonna enable our parking brake, and we're going to turn off our engine by turning off our fuel flow. We should have confirm shutdown. We're going to come in here, see how much fuel we burned. We're at about 100 before. As you can see, this is exactly how mine is in real life. So this is a very, very realistic. As you can see, pounds used, 92 pounds in the entire time, which is it's a lot, but considering we went 20 miles, it's not that bad at the altitude we went. So just to go over it again, things that could be better about it, that aerodynamic thing. Don't know why I did that. Maybe you guys can see from the developers why it did that. Aesthetically, 10 out of 10. beautiful plane. Nothing could be better about its aesthetic appeal. It's awesome, and I forgot to put up the flaps. What a failure. Let's turn the battery on, get those flaps up. Wouldn't want to leave those down. Anyway, aesthetically, beautiful. Functionality, beautiful. Garmin 1000s are amazing. I would definitely recommend this to anybody who's looking for complex but not PMDG complex aircraft. It's a very good plane. Not normal for FSX, and I definitely think it's a new, good type of thing. It's very realistic, and it's a great plane for anybody who loves general aviation, such as myself, and who actually flies in general aviation. So I suggest you buy this if you have the money. If not, I don't know what to tell you. Just sit back, wait till you do get the money to buy it. It's a good plane, as you can see. But yeah, just if you like the video, let me know. Just comment what you want to see next, what add-ons. We have a large availability as far between me and Jason. We both have quite a bit of money invested in this great game, so we have quite a lot of availability for planes as far as PMDG, quality wings, what else? Carenado, Aerosoft. We've got all the above. So yeah, just let us know if you liked it. Quite a bit of effort goes into this, so we want to know if we're actually appealing to the audience we want to. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Tell your friends if you want to, if you are interested, and if you actually liked it. So one thing I meant to show is the actual cabin. The cabin, ooh, this is beautiful. Very well modeled. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Whatever, if you want to see more of this, subscribe. If you want to do whatever, just do whatever. I'm happy. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. And this is goodbye from me.